On today's episode, we're answering the question, no, we're not, because I'm on the wrong damn outline. I want to just also really mention that, we talk about nightmare clients, bad clients. This is not always that they're bad people or bad clients for everyone. They might just not be the right client for you, and that's okay. Just like you're not the right fit for every client, not every client is the right fit for you. And I don't necessarily mean financially or what they're looking for or any of that. It could just be that either they have expectations that you are unable or unwilling to meet, their personality does not match with yours, the way that they communicate is not appropriate for the way that you need to communicate.
Oh, this hits my soul.
Right? Or the way that they work doesn't match the way that you work. There are people who very different work styles, and Jenny and I, we have very different work styles, but they overlap enough that it actually enhances one another. If there wasn't that overlap, oh no,
that wouldn't work. This wouldn't work.
If she was a little more one way and I was a little more another, and that Venn diagram pulled apart into two circles, it would not be a good relationship. And the same holds true for your clients. So I'm disclaimering, which is another verb I've just made up. Yes, I'm a copywriter. I'm allowed to make up words.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm making the disclaimer now that when we talk about nightmare clients or bad clients, I do not mean that they are not good clients for someone. What we mean is they're not good clients for you.
Yep.
All right. So other than that, there is another part to this. Is it the client, or is it how you are working with them?
I know.
Think, Jenny?
There's a lot of feelings coming up when we're talking about this. And I know before we hit record, we're like, let's keep the personal stories out. And I'm going to keep the personal stories out, but so many things are coming up. And one of the things that comes up is understanding who you are. And if you don't know who you are, and when I say who you are, like, what are you willing to accept? What are you willing to work with? What are your boundaries? Are you a people pleaser? Are you a yes person? Are you a morning person? Like, there's so many different things that come into this. I personally know who I am, but when I first started this entrepreneurial journey, I was coming out of a bad situation myself. We won't even talk about it. I've talked about it in other episodes, but I was coming out of a bad situation of business and into this, and I didn't know who I was. I accepted the wrong clients, et cetera. Allison, we could talk about this for days. I'm going to keep my stuff out of it. But knowing who you are is huge. And you could literally just get out a piece of paper and write this down. You could talk about whether or not you are a morning person. You could talk about whether or not you like to work regular hours. Allison and I don't work regular hours. We are super not regular hour people. We are 100% into working different hours. So we totally, totally different, totally got it. That's how we are. So figure out what that is for you, write it down, and understand more about yourself so that when you start to work with other people, or if you're in a situation where you're working with people and it's not working for you, that when you start to figure this out, you're able to customize your working experience with others.
And it also begins to customize what you offer. Because once you understand these things about yourself, it allows you to understand, hey, you know what? I am not a morning person, or I really prefer to do all of my brain work during the day and then admin type stuff or whatever at night.
But I don't like calls.
Or calls suck the soul out of me or whatever. And then you offer something that goes against that, well, that's you just not, that's setting yourself up for failure.
100%.
And it's a learning process. You're not going to
Sure.
nail it on the first go round. You're going to do something and maybe a year or a year and a half, whatever, into it, you're like, yeah, I kind of hate that. Okay, great. Stop doing it.
Tailor your business and your clientele to work for you, like the way it works best for you.
Correct. And
I
then
can't
that
do
helps
back-to-back
you.
calls.
That's right. You can't.
The third call in, I hope the other person has a ton of patience, because I don't at that point. I have no charm. Right?
She's out of charm. Third
Out of
call in.
charm. Yep.
Meanwhile, for me, I hate the piddly little calls that interrupt your day. Like, seriously, I have one 15-minute call in the smack dab middle of my day. I'm not going to get anything done today, but that's just me.
Yeah.
So I try to bunch my calls, which has been super fun for working together, but there's enough overlap. But it also helps you decide what type of client is best for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you are the kind of person that I don't want to have to check in with you every day.
Yes.
And then you go sign a client who needs that reassurance and control. We call that micromanaging, but it's really a need for reassurance and control. If they require that to feel good about the working relationship, but you resent it and hate it, why are you signing that client?
Yeah. You have no business signing a client like that, because that's the person that's going to drive you crazy. And that's the person you're going to end up creating that resentment for. And it's going to keep you in that stuck pattern. So figure out the best client for you, write down their personality, write down the way that they should be working with you. And by the way, all of this could and should be reflected into your contracts and your working agreements, as well as those onboarding calls, right? Having those onboarding calls, if you're doing any coaching work or DFI or anything like that, that's where you can have these onboarding conversations before or during the sales process. You want those clear parameters and clear understanding. The other thing that's hugely important is in your agreements and your contracts that you have a clear list of your deliverables and what you will do and what is included and what is not included. Because you create so much headache for yourself by not including that in there. I am willing to work this. Your contract includes the following. Your contract does not include the following. This is offered at a different price, or if you want this, it will be charged separately for, or if X amount of hours has been reached and you exceed on your contract, you will be charged at X rate, blah, blah, blah. All of that needs to be figured out. Remove any ambiguity. And by removing the ambiguity, do you know what you do? You release and remove the stress from you, and you release and remove the ambiguity and the questions from your client or your person. And that eliminates or helps to eliminate scope creep, all those different types of things, right? So sometimes people, get through the things that you've kind of set up, and you're going to see some red flags. Red flags are a big thing.
We've talked a lot about why you should build your list, your email list.